bloodiest war on American soil. States versus states. Brothers versus brothers. Join hosts Bang and Dang as they take you battle by battle through the most divisive time in American history. Welcome to Battles of the American Civil War.
Welcome back to Battles of the American Civil War with Joe's Bang and Dang. We got, well, not new, but back to the Petersburg campaign for you. We also got a battle from the Franklin-Nashville campaign we're going to start out with, and we are going to end it with Price's Missouri raid, which is his last one for him. So we got the Battle of Decatur, then we got the Boydton Plank Road, and the Fair Oaks and Darbytown Road, which are two, just like how we had last time we were in Petersburg, where Grant did two attacks at the same time. And then we'll end it with the Second Battle of Newtonia, where Price is finally done. He's done. Just get out of there, Price. Get out of there.
Finito.
Before we get into that, go check out our YouTube at Bang Dang Network. If you're listening on Spotify, Apple. If you're listening on YouTube, go check out our Spotify and Apple. And give us a subscription, share us with your friends, answer the Spotify question, give us a review, all that stuff. Also follow our Darts YouTube, all the descriptions will be in the links. Or you can reverse that, and links will be in the descriptions, whatever you want to say. We're starting out with the Battle of Decatur, which was a demonstration conducted from October 26th to 29th, 1864, as part of that Franklin-Nashville campaign. General John B. Hood was marching through northern Alabama on his way to an invasion of Union-held Tennessee. And his army had departed northwest from the vicinity of Atlanta, which happened in late September 1864, hoping their destruction of Union supply lines would lure Major General William T. Sherman's Union Army into battle. That's all their guys are trying to do nowadays, is lure them into battle.
Right.
Sherman pursued Hood as far as Galesville, Alabama, but decided to return his army to Atlanta and instead conduct his famous March to the Sea through Georgia.
Georgia?
He gave responsibility for the defense of Tennessee to Major General George Thomas at Nashville.
Fantastic. Well, Hood, he's like, you know what? I'm going to depart from Gadsden, Alabama. I'm going to do that on the 22nd October. En route to Gunnersville, Alabama, where he planned to cross the Tennessee River. Cool. However, he later learned from Cavalry Brigadier General Philip Roddy that the crossing place was strongly guarded, while Decatur, 40 miles west, was said to be lightly guarded.
40 miles?
Right, jeez. Concerned over the possibility of federal gunboats destroying any pontoon bridge he might deploy, along with the absence of Forrest's horsemen to bring him intelligence, Hood, he then changed his course to Decatur. He's like, I guess let's try it out. If you say that's the case, then we got to go with it, right?
I guess. Well, when Hood arrived at Decatur, October 26th, he found a federal infantry force of about 3,000 to 5,000 men defending an entrenched line that included 2 forts and 1,600 yards of rifle pits, which was a much heavier force than Roddy had believed. 2 federal gunboats also patrolled the river.
What was really at the where he was going to cross the first time? That's
right,
what I want to know.
General George Thomas in Nashville sent supplies and reinforcements to Decatur, along with orders to defend Decatur to the last extremity.
Oh, I bet.
On October 27th, Hood arranged his army as it arrived to encircle Decatur. Meanwhile, the Union continued to pour reinforcements into Decatur, which arrived just in time to fill gaps in the wavering Union lines.
Oh, my, oh, my. The very next morning, Hood sent Confederate skirmishers through a dense fog to a ravine within 800 yards of the main fortifications. About noon, Blue Coat Regiment drove the skirmishers out of the ravine, capturing 125 of those damn rebels. With soldiers hungry and supplies scarce, Hood, he knew he could not afford the casualties from a full-scale assault. He decided to cross the Tennessee River elsewhere. He shouldn't even stopped. He just kept on rolling. He marched further to the west and crossed near Tuscumbia, which was in Alabama, where Muscle Shoals prevented interference by the federal gunboats.
Oh, look at that.
See?
And that's the end of that. We move on to the Battle of Fair Oaks and Darbytown.
So that was stupid. You can blame that on Roddy.
Right. It's
Dumbass.
Faulty intelligence
You
there.
ain't kidding.
Well, he didn't have his horsemen.
Right.
So
From Forrest. What happened to Forrest? Where did that guy go?
Oh, he's elsewhere. That's going to bring us to the Battle of Fair Oaks and Darbytown Road, which is fought in conjunction with our next one, which is Boydton Road or Boydton Plank Road. That was fought 27th through 28th of October in Henrico County, Virginia, as part of the Richmond-Petersburg campaign. In combination with movements against the Boydton Plank Road at Petersburg, Major General Benjamin Butler attacked the Richmond defenses along Darbytown Road with the 10th Corps. Butler's plan called for Major General Alfred Terry's 10th Corps to demonstrate as far north as Charles City Road.
Okay.
Meanwhile, Major General Godfrey Weitzel's 18th Corps would follow Major General August Kautz's cavalry division around Terry's right, and then move west over the Williamsburg Road to attack the left flank of the Confederates, which were near Fair Oaks.
If the old Bluecoats could turn the rebel line, Butler believed Kautz's cavalry, followed by Weitzel's infantry, could proceed west on the Williamsburg Road and storm the old rebel capital. Uh-oh. The mission began approximately 4:30 a.m., October 27, 1864. Terry's soldiers left their entrenchments near New Market Road. They moved north over the same ground that they had covered during the Battle of Darbytown Road 2 weeks earlier, which we did. As planned, Terry... Huh?
Maybe.
As planned, Terry advanced to Charles City Road, which ran roughly parallel to Darbytown and New Market Roads, and he halted right there.
Confusion between Kautz and Weitzel delayed the arrival of the 18th Corps at the Williamsburg Road until 1 p.m.
Oh, shit.
Weitzel then spent the next 2 hours scouting and positioning his troops.
All right.
By that time, General James Longstreet, look at this guy, he had recently assumed command of the Confederate defenses at Richmond. He surmised Weitzel's intentions and shifted Major General Charles Field's division to reinforce his left flank. He said, I'm back, baby.
Look at that shit. Approximately 3:30 p.m. Weitzel's finally lost his assault by sending only 2 of his 7 brigades forward across 300 yards of open ground. Ooh, let's just see what you 2 brigades do, huh? Maybe if most of you don't die, we can send more. Damn, that's crazy. The old rebel defenders greeted the Yanks with a hail of musket and artillery fire that sent their adversaries fleeing. Old Weitzel, he quickly withdrew.
Of course.
Later, under cover of darkness, he and Terry returned to the main Union lines at New Market Road. He's like, that didn't work out, guys.
And there's another, that's 2 battles in a row now. You go and then you retreat.
Stupid.
In his after-action summary, Longstreet reported that the fruits of these successes, so credible to the officers and men engaged, and resulting in the complete defeat of a most determined effort to take Richmond on the north side, amounted to 11 stands of colors, captured in the assault of Field's position, and about 600 prisoners.
Oh, shit.
Battle of Fair Oaks and Darbytown Road was the last failed Union attempt to threaten Richmond during 1864. Failed.
All right.
The rebel victory cost the Union over 1,700 casualties compared to only 100 for the Confederacy.
Look at that. A little bit of morale boost for the old Rebs.
Look at Longstreet saying, I'm back,
He's like,
and I'm better than ever.
we're going to turn this war around, baby. Lee's like, you try.
Okay.
I'm sitting right here and keep an eye on old Grant. He keeps on sending them bottles of liquor. Courtesy of Lee. He's like, oh, thank you. Let's move it on. The Battle of Boydton Plank Road, also known as Burgess Mill or First Hatcher's Run.
Going on at the exact same time as the last one.
Yep. 28th of October. Followed the Union Army's successful Battle of People's Farm, which we did in the Siege of Petersburg. At the Battle of People's Farm earlier in October, the Union 5th Corps had seized a portion of the Confederate works around Hatcher's Run. The entire 2nd Corps under Major General Winfield Hancock, he pulled out of the trenches and moved to operate against the old Rebs' Boydton line in conjunction with a simultaneous operation against the Richmond defenses along the Darbytown Road. 2nd Corps reinforced by divisions from the 5th Corps, 4th Corps, 9th Corps, and Brigadier General David Gregg's cavalry division already operating in this very area.
October 27th, Hancock marched across Hatcher's Run, brushed aside Confederate pickets, and moved around the Confederate flank towards Burgess Mill.
Brushed aside.
The division under Brigadier General Gershom Mott crossed the Boydton Plank Road and attacked Major General Wade Hampton's Confederate cavalry, threatening to cut it off on the main lines. Lieutenant General A.P. Hill, who commanded the Confederate defenses in the area, reacted quickly to Hancock's threat.
Here we go. We got some big boys going at it. However, once his units moved in front of the Federals, Hill, in poor health, proved too sick to even continue field command, turned over direction to his corps from his corps to Major General Henry Heath. Henry Heath put 2 divisions in Hancock's path, but the old Federales commander drove up the Boydton Plank Road, and pushed aside the opposing Confederates, just pushing them aside. Just bullies. At this very time, Major General George Meade, look at this guy, and Lieutenant General Ulysses S. Grant.
Look at this guy.
Oh, wow. They rode to the battlefield.
Yeah.
Where Meade immediately noticed a gap between Hancock and the 5th Corps. He's like, what the hell's that?
Oh, the South Side Railroad still 6 miles away. Meade realized that continuing the advance would only further isolate the 2nd Corps.
You ain't kidding.
And so he ordered Hancock to halt.
Damn, dude, if he wouldn't have rolled out that day, that could have been...
What was Hancock doing?
Wow.
First of all, Brigadier General Samuel Crawford's 5th Corps Division was ordered to link with the 2nd Corps, but became caught up in the dense woods. General Grant, meanwhile, made a personal reconnaissance of the Confederate works and, after coming under fire, determined that the Confederates were too strong and called off the offensive.
Really? What pussy?
Not today, boys.
I don't know about pussy, but if I could have done something.
Not today.
Wow. Having never linked up with Crawford's division, Hancock's corps returned to Hatcher's Run, but found it blocked by the old Confederate cavalry.
Uh-oh.
This left the entire 2nd Corps isolated on the north side of Hatcher's Run without support. That's what isolated means. You didn't have to have that.
Right.
With the memory of Reams Station infusing them, Heath and Hampton, they saw a golden opportunity to destroy the whole 2nd Corps.
Take him out.
Hancock's only line of retreat was the Dabney Mill Road, for which Heath was now aiming for.
Oh.
Late in the afternoon, Brigadier General William Mahoney's division attacked through the same woods that had stopped Crawford, and he seized the Dabney Mill Road. While the old rebel cavalry division under Major General W.H.F. Rooney Lee, he moved up behind the old Federales. Look at that shit.
Mahone moved so far around the Federal flank that Brigadier General Thomas Egan's 2nd Corps Division was forced to completely change fronts.
Oh, no.
Hancock was now surrounded on 3 sides with no line of retreat.
Oh, shit.
But unlike at Reams Station, the 2nd Corps did not panic, and Hancock seized the initiative.
Look at that.
Mahone had almost been too successful and found his division isolated in turn. Hancock ordered an attack on both Confederate flanks. Hampton failed to hold off the Union cavalry, and Gregg was able to move up and aid in routing
Look at
Mahone.
that. Wow.
How the tides have turned.
Backed against the corner, and it came out swinging.
My, how the turntables.
The tables had thus turned, and the old Rebs, now threatened with encirclement, retreated up the Boydton Plank Road. Hancock, he retained his hold on the Boydton Plank Road, and Grant, he left him to the decision whether to remain or withdraw to the initial Union.
Well, what do you think he's going to do?
Although Hancock had repulsed the old rebel attack, his position was still very unstable.
Yeah.
That night, Hancock was like, guess what? We're going back to our original position, boys.
Well, with October nearly over, both armies settled into winter quarters. It's the end of Grant for a while, guys. The Confederates maintained their hold on the Boydton Plank Road throughout the winter. Hancock had won a tactical victory over Heath's Confederates, partially erasing the stain of the rout at Reams Station. No further significant action occurred on any front around Petersburg for the rest of the year.
Oh, look at that shit.
The Battle of Boydton Plank Road marked the last battle of 2 distinguished Union generals in the Army of the Potomac, though.
Wow, really? I mean, I guess you didn't really need them. Get the B Squad out there. Following month, Winfield Hancock resigned from field command due to complications with the wound he received at Gettysburg.
I mean, that's a good reason, but this next guy...
Then January 1865, old David Grigg, he unexpectedly resigned his command. His letter of resignation alluded to an anxiety of being away from his home. Oh, my goodness. I just can't take it much longer.
Hey, what about all these guys that you led into battle and got killed?
Right, and Meade and Grant's like, dude, if we lose this, you don't have a home.
Right.
Well,
no, of course
sure they would. Right. But it would be totally different.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think so. Probably be the same.
For them.
For everybody.
Probably. Right. Just go back to the way it was.
Right. Just a different name. You think if the Confederates would have won, they would actually just change it back to the United States?
No.
No?
No, can't now.
Confederate States.
There would have been a government in exile of the United States.
What does Confederate even mean?
It means joined by an agreement or a treaty. A person one works with, especially in secret or illegal, or an accomplice. Bring into an alliance. An alliance, pretty much.
Bring into an alliance. So the Confederates. It's going like United. Basically the same thing. What's Confederacy?
Not Confederate. Well, obviously, a fucking state that...
It's totally different.
A league or an alliance, as I said, an alliance of people formed for an illicit purpose.
All right.
Which the Italian Confederacy, known as the Lombard League. Yeah.
I was trying to say it's bad.
No, not bad, but they're formed
Bad.
to do...
Right.
Going against...
Right.
whatever the status quo is. A group of people, countries, organizations, etc., join together for a common purpose by a common interest.
Makes sense.
Right.
I like it. Founded in February 8, 1861.
Basically, Americans are Confederates.
Right, pretty much. Wow, okay. Oh, General Meade's chief in staff, Major General Andrew Humphreys, he assumed command of 2nd Corps, and he would resume the offensive against the Boydton Plank Road in February of the following year. He's like, no, what, I don't think we're going to withdraw anymore. We're going to continue forward.
All right, well, they tried one last hurrah before winter came and tried to take Richmond, but we'll get them next year, boys.
Well, that
we will.
Like I said, a little bit of morale for the old Rebs to go through the winter season, thinking, hey, man,
maybe we might do something here.
Maybe with Longstreet back, we might be all right.
We move towards the Second Battle of Newtonia, which is near Newtonia, Missouri, between cavalry commanded by Major General James G. Blunt, yo, beautiful, of the Union, and Brigadier General Joseph Shelby's rear guard of the Confederates.
Vroom, vroom.
After their defeat at Mine Creek and subsequent retreat, the Confederates were able to get an 8-hour lead over the Union troops, although the pursuers soon narrowed the gap to 2.5 hours by the afternoon of the 26th.
Holy shit, some bitch were hauling.
Right. Well, I mean, the Price's men are all weary and hungry and tired and fucked.
I know you're weary. Union troops reported finding old rebel stragglers dying of starvation during the retreat.
I bet they did.
Price lost many men to desertion.
Deserted on me.
Claims of execution of prisoners were made against both armies.
Of course.
28th of October, 1864. Price halted his retreat near Newtonia, Missouri. This is the very site of the 1862 First Battle of Newtonia.
Yeah, that's why it would be called Second Battle of Newtonia.
Right. He did this hoping to give his weary men a rest.
Weary men. That's
grain.
Say it. It's very weary.
Right. Grain could be obtained in the Newtonia area.
I gotta obtain that grain.
Right. That's his role. A grain obtainer. Obtain the grain. Obtaining the grain brain. I don't know. I gotta get the grain. I gotta obtain the grain in the rain. Obtain the grain in the rain. I don't know. Got the grain in the rain.
And that's my main objective.
I'm gonna take this grain down this lane.
What do you say, Maine?
Ain't this some good grain, Maine? That I obtained? Yeah.
Why's your pants? What's up with your pants? It's got a stain.
No,
That ain't
man.
from that grain.
Yeah, no, man. That's from the grain.
Oh, man. If we don't get this grain, we'll be in pain.
Or it could be when I tripped in that lane.
Cane.
Yeah, okay. That's enough.
I got a shot in the leg. Now I got to walk with a cane to get this grain.
This cane, I'll have to train.
Because it's actually a snake.
Stay stiff, you son of a bitch.
Quit noodling.
Freeze my snake. All right. Grain could be obtained. Right. Grain could be obtained in the Newtonia area, while Price's path to retreat would soon go through a relatively barren part of Arkansas.
Oh, yeah. You need to get your shit before you go through nothing.
Gotta go.
Unfortunately for them, a small Union outpost was located in the town.
Okay.
Confederate soldiers who were Newtonia Lokers.
No shit.
Lokers, huh? Confederate soldiers who were Newtonia locals were aware of the outpost, and 2 detachments were sent to drive out the Union defenders. The flat prairie terrain around Newtonia precluded any element of surprise, and the defenders fled the town. Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
One Union soldier, Lieutenant Robert H. Christian, was captured, killed, possibly after he surrendered, and then mutilated afterwards.
Mutilated? Jeez, what are these guys?
Man, fucking assholes, dude.
Holy shit.
Fucking assholes.
What pricks.
You don't see the Union doing this to the rebels, though.
Right. Price's men encamped south of Newtonia in some woods near the McLean farm. Fucking yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. Some of the soldiers were sent into town to bring a flour mill into use. Why wasn't it already in use? Why wasn't it already in use?
Just drove all the fucking Union out of there.
Right. A report of approaching Union soldiers reached the old Confederate camp. Brigadier General M. Jeff Thompson, he attempted to organize a group of soldiers of his brigade to meet the threat. Well, he was unable to convince many of the tired rebels to break their rest. He's like, nah, I'm good.
Fuck you, dude.
They come through, I don't
just
care.
got here.
I'm a prisoner, baby. I don't even have a gun on me. But he was only able to get about 200 men to follow him.
Better than nothing, I guess.
When no Union soldiers arrived and straggling Confederate soldiers arrived to dispute the rumor, Thompson sent his men back to the camp.
I would hope so.
They're all pissed.
What the fuck?
Go back to camp. Bud.
Around 1400, Union soldiers under the command of Colonel James Ford did arrive, though, having approached the battlefield from the northwest. Ford deployed McLean's Colorado Battery and the 2nd Colorado and the 16th Kansas Cavalry Regiments. Confederates were harvesting corn when the Union troops arrived, and their skirmishers were quickly driven away from their position, which was west of the town near the Matthew H. Ritchie farm.
Okay.
While this action was occurring, Union Major General James Blunt arrived to take command of the action. He personally fought with the 16th Kansas Cavalry during this stage of the fight. And look at you,
Fantastic.
James G. Blunt. You are beautiful.
You are not kidding. Damn. Balls of steel. Who's got the big balls? Yeah, it's Price. He was caught by surprise, though. He ordered Brigadier General Joseph Shelby to provide a rear guard while the rest of his army withdrew.
Jeez, he's running away.
He believed that Curtis and the entire Union army was attacking him. This movement prevented Price from sending any reinforcements to Shelby during the ensuing battle, even though they would be requested. Shelby's command was the only effective force left in the old Confederate army anyway. Oh, shit.
Wow.
An element of Major General James Fagan's division had previously reported the approach of Union troops, but this report had been dismissed by Fagan. Oh,
There's nothing coming.
It's like, nah.
Meanwhile, Blunt made two incorrect assumptions. One was that Curtis was close behind his force in support, and the other that Confederates would not act aggressively.
No.
What do you mean they wouldn't act aggressively?
I don't think they'll fight.
Jeez, as a result, Blunt decided to attack with his 2 brigades, which numbered only about 1,000 men. The brigades were nominally under the command of Colonel Charles Jennison and Ford, although Lieutenant Colonel George Hoyt held temporary command for the former unit as Jennison was sick. Hoyt's unit had arrived on the field not long after Ford's, having been close enough behind the leading unit that it was forced to ride through the dust cloud formed by Ford's movement. Oh.
Right. Look at that shit. Union troopers then moved up the northern edge of the McLean farm. 4 cavalry regiments in a line from left to right in order of the 16th Kansas, 3rd Wisconsin, and the 2nd Colorado, and then the 15th Kansas Cavalry. McLean's battery, he formed up in a supporting position with 4 Parrott rifles. Shelby, he deployed his 500 yards.
Man. We call them the 500-yard man.
Yeah, baby. Shelby, he deployed his men 500 yards away on the other side of the farm. Damn. With the brigades of Thompson and Colonel Sidney Jackman in the center, and 2 small mounted detachments covering the flanks.
Slayback's Missouri Cavalry Battalion and the 5th Missouri Regiment were positioned between Thompson's main body and the mounted group on the Confederate left.
No artillery?
The 2 guns of Collins Missouri Battery would provide artillery.
What are those 2 guns?
And was in turn supported by Nichols Missouri Cavalry Regiment and Hunter's Missouri Cavalry Regiment. It is estimated that Shelby's division fielded about 15 to 2,000 men, 1,500 to 2,000 men.
All right. That worked out. The 2 sides' artillery opened fire on one another. Collins' battery having the early advantage over McLean, whose pieces had trouble finding the range of the old Rebs, but once they do, it's deadly. Those Parrott rifles are
deadly.
Yes. The distance between the 2 units was great enough that small arms fire was not even attempted in large scale. And what was shot had essentially no effect. If it came, you can imagine just sitting there in a boat, it's like,
wasting
lands right in front
Has
of
that
your
ever
foot?
happened?
What? A bullet is landing in front
Have
of your
they?
foot?
I'm sure somebody's had to attest that, right?
See how
There's
far-
got to be a test on YouTube of somebody shooting
Right.
a bullet and then filming where it falls.
Right.
It's got to be.
Would
There's
you-
got to be.
Would you be willing to
If it was,
stand there?
if they did it
like 100 times?
100 times and it did it every time, of course.
Maybe if
That'd
it
be
did.
that one time it catches the wind or something.
Well, even if it did hit you, you'd be all right.
Right.
It'd be like,
That'd be hot.
right. I don't even know if it'd
Maybe,
be
I
hot.
don't know, right? Interesting. Have to look that up one of these days.
It would be nice, wouldn't it? Either 2 or 4 mountain howitzers were added to the Union line by Hoyt. Oh, shit. They are more effective than McLean's pieces, but they could not even gain an advantage over Collins. How?
Nope. Fearing that the Union's guns' numerical advantage would eventually overwhelm Collins,
He only had 2.
Shelby ordered an attack 2 or 4.
No. 2 or 4 was added to the Union lines of already 4 Parrott rifles.
Right. That's why fearing the Union's guns' numerical advantage
Right.
would eventually overwhelm Collins. Shelby ordered an attack, which outflanked the Union line and had initial success. You can't be getting outflanked, guys. The Union soldiers fell back about 200 yards.
Okay.
Only Thompson's brigade participated in the attack, as Jackman's men were left behind to support Collins' battery.
Yeah, you gotta do.
Colonel Moses Smith, commander of the 11th Missouri Cavalry Regiment, suffered a mortal wound during the charge. Colonel Moses.
Shit, come on.
That bullet parted his red vein.
Veins are blue.
His red blood count.
His red neck. I'm sorry, guys. While the 2 mountain howitzers helped hold the Union right against Confederate threats, the mounted detachment of the old rebel right flank, the mounted detachment on the rebel right outflanked the Union left.
Oh, jeez.
Causing a retreat of McLean's battery. Old Blunt had ordered an orderly retreat of about 300 yards, but the sight of the guns retreating demoralized some of the men of the 15th
like,
and
what the
16th
fuck are they
Kansas,
doing?
right? Parts which were routed.
Oh, no.
Oh, man. These guys don't even care anymore. Watching elements of their opponents flee emboldened the old rebels. An attack was pressed harder. The Union lines fell back all the way to Ritchie Farm, where they reformed their lines, a process which was aided by the redeployment of McLean's battery.
See, well, even after this line was formed, some of the Union troops were still heading for the rear.
You ain't kidding.
Charged by 2 companies of the 2nd Colorado Cavalry surprised the Confederates and temporarily threw them into disorder.
Ooh.
Confederate troops were also threatening to turn the Union left at this time.
Oh, shit.
Blunt, concerned that his men would run out of ammo, began making preparations to withdraw from the field and position McLean's battery on an elevation behind his main line.
Right, get that motherfucker up there. Shit. Well,
down.
All right, by this time, it was approaching sundown. The Union reinforcements commanded by Brigadier General John B. Sanborn, they arrived on the field at about 1700, which is about 5 o'clock. No, it's about 7 o'clock. Wait, 16. Yeah, it's 5 o'clock, sorry.
8,
It's 5.
11.
5. Having made a forced march from Fort Scott, Kansas after receiving order.
Scott!
Oh, dude, these guys are tired then. After receiving orders from Curtis to join Blunt early in the day. After arriving Sanborn, he formed his men to Blunt's left. There were now 15 to 2,000 Union soldiers in the fight.
Okay.
Old Curtis, he arrived with Sanborn, and he watched McLean's battery withdraw in a state that Curtis described as badly cut up. Oh, these guys are...
Well, he helped to rally the Colorado battery while Sanborn dismounted his men and prepared for an assault. Once Sanborn's men began attacking, Blunt's rejuvenated troopers joined in the counterattack. Okay. 2 Rodman guns of Battery 8, 2nd Missouri Light Artillery Regiment had arrived, giving the Union an artillery advantage of 8 guns to 2. These newly arrived guns fired 22 shots during the battle. That's it. With the Union having thrown fresh troops in the fray and with the artillery advantage growing more marked, Shelby ordered a withdrawal. So we gotta go, boy. You gotta go. You gotta go.
I know.
But we're shooting our own guns.
I know. The old Bluecoats counterattack drove for about a mile before halting. Elements of Fagan's command arrived to reinforce Shelby during the retreat, but the old Rebs still withdrew to some woods near the original camp. By this very time, both sides were heavily fatigued.
Yeah, but...
And Curtis and Blunt decided to postpone any pursuit until morning. Ford's and Hoyt's men, they left the battlefield at about 2100. After which they occupied the town. Oh, I bet they did.
And just wouldn't you know it, both armies claimed victory. Curtis reported that the Confederates had been conquered, while Price claimed that Blunt had been driven back 3 miles and to have inflicted severe casualties. You guys just went back to your original camp. What are you talking about?
It was a wasted of a day.
Shelby's chief of staff, John Newman Edwards, stated that another beautiful victory had crowned the Confederate arms.
Look at that.
Both the American Battlefield Trust and its partners, plus the Civil War Sites Advisory Commission, interpret the outcome as a Union victory, though.
All right.
Likewise, estimates of casualties vary greatly, don't they always? Oh, let's come on, Sinesy, what you got for us, buddy?
You ain't kidding, right?
Come on, what you got, Sinesy?
Well, there's a contemporary newspaper reported 113 Union casualties and under 200 for the old Ribs. The modern historian Elbert Castell, he places total Confederate casualties at 24.
Jeez.
And Union at 26. While the modern historian O. Sinisi Cairo, he places Union losses 114, and he estimates Confederates were probably similar to that or less than Union.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Sinesy.
Right. O. Laus, he states that Blunt reported Union losses about 118 killed, wounded, and Union officer Richard Hinton provided a figure of 114 Union casualties.
Geez.
So I'm guessing about 100.
Higher figures for the Confederate losses are given by Laus, who reports the Confederates supposedly lost about 275. The frequently unreliable Edwards later stated that the Confederates lost about 8,800 men
Holy
at
shit.
Newtonia.
Which is it?
The American Battlefield Trust estimates 250 and 400 respectively. 250 for the Union and 400 for the Confederates. It is known that 46 wounded Confederates were captured by Union troops when they were abandoned after the battle due to Price's army's inability to transport them.
All right.
Bunch of fucking
That's
no
bullshit.
man left behind.
Right, they didn't give a shit. That's not part of the Confederate States.
None of the Americans either. We've seen that countless times.
Right. Ritchie and McLean houses were both used as field hospitals, as was the Witherspoon House, which was southwest of McLean Farm. Both contemporary and post-war writers either praised Blunt for playing a decisive role in the victory, or they criticized his decision to attack with a small force. And they said that was very, very reckless.
What a reckless Blunt.
During the night after the battle, most of Shelby's men left the field. What? During the night after the battle, most of Shelby's men left the field to rejoin Price's main command, having completed their mission of providing a rear guard. The old rebel 12th Missouri Cavalry was left on the field until morning as an observation force.
And Sanborn's men spent the night east of Newtonia, while the other two Union brigades fell back to the northwest of the town. Price's army, which Castleton described as being essentially an armed mob after the October 25th Battle of Marmaton River, began falling completely apart. General Rosecrans, had received orders from Ulysses S. Grant to divert any troops not needed to deal with Price east of the Mississippi. So 2 brigades, including Sanborn's, were detached from Curtis on October 29th.
All right.
Curtis planned on stopping the pursuit, but the detached troops were returned to him the next day, and the pursuit resumed.
No, look at that shit. Worked out, huh? Well, Price, he's like, screw this shit. I'm withdrawing to the Arkansas River via the Cane Hill, Arkansas. Curtis's pursuit ended 8th of November at the Arkansas River. He's like, I ain't crossing this shit. After marching through the Indian Territory, the Confederates reached Texas. The campaign had cost Price more than 2/3 of his men, as we previously stated. The battlefield was listed on the National Register of Historic Places as the Second Battle of Newtonia on December 23rd, 2004. Within Historic District are 4 contributing properties: the battlefield proper, the position McLean's Battery on the Ridge, a cornfield at the site of Ritchie Farm, and the site of a historic road that led to Granby. Most of the areas where fighting occurred are preserved in the district, which shares a boundary with the First Battle of Newtonia at 2 places. Modern landscape use is similar to that in 1864, although railroad construction and open pit mining have intruded on some of the site. All right.
American Battlefield Trust has been involved in the preservation of 8 acres at Newtonia.
The Ritchie House, 25 acres of battlefield, including the old Newtonia Cemetery, were added to Wilson's Creek National Battlefield, and that was in 2022. Wow. That was happened by the Consolidated Appropriations Act of 2023. Despite National Park Service opposition due to the lack of connection and need for protection or enhancement of public enjoyment. Okay.
I'll just be happy they did it.
Right.
Okay. Jeez.
Look at that. Look at that.
Well, there you go. Price done.
Yeah.
Petersburg inactive for the next 4 or 5 months, which means there's only like 2 more places we can even beat. One of them's going to be Tennessee.
Yeah.
And I believe
We'll get some Virginia.
we should have some
Missouri shit.
We're going to start March to the Sea here pretty soon. Next week we're going to have the Battle of Morristown, Battle of Johnsonville, and the Battle of Bowes Gap, all in Tennessee. Definitely those 3. And then we're Georgia, Tennessee for the foreseeable future. Then we got Colorado, the Sand Creek Massacre that we talked about last week.
Yeah,
Georgia, Tennessee pretty much in the surrounding areas for the remainder of this year until a couple of Virginias at the end. Yeah, good stuff. And all but
a lot of them.
Yeah, well, it's about 75% Union victories in all of these remaining battles. Our next big battle,
including 2A battles.
Our next big battle will be the Battle of Franklin in Tennessee, and our last big battle of 1864 would be the Battle of Nashville, Tennessee. So, got a lot of good stuff coming up before we get to 1875, which is just worthless battles until we get to the Appomattox, obviously. But, yeah. Cool. Price gone. Virginia.
Yeah, Price is in Texas, and I don't think he's...
But if you want to get Price in Texas, you got to defeat his army. Yep, that's going to do it for us in the Battles of the American Civil War. All our links are in the description. Give us a like, review, all that good stuff, and we'll see you next week we're heading to Tennessee, boys.
Ooh-wee.
And we'll see you then. We are the Bound of Michigan as we
Bang, dang.